I feel like I'm the kind of person where I've always been this person that walks into a place and can peep like the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So were you always that person, even though you weren't an organizer? Were you always that person? Because that's what pushes people to become the organizer, right?
Oh, of
Because
course.
go ahead.
We don't we don't, as black people, we not gonna keep silence for too long without saying something. And unfortunately, what happens at Amazon is everybody goes through a honeymoon phase. See, I got hired in 2015 at Amazon. This is way before anybody even really heard of any bad controversy about Amazon. You didn't hear any bad PR. It was a model employee back at that time. Everybody, it was like the new UPS of the era. Everybody wanted to get a job there, and they were opening up buildings all across America. So I got
Mhm.
I got pulled in with that honeymoon phase that this is a good job that's on the rise and I have opportunity to grow. So that's how I looked at it at first. When I came in there, I didn't care what they threw at me. I knew that it was better than my last job.
What was your
I was
last
working.
job?
Oh, I was actually, and this is the fun part, I was actually a Teamster working overnight at a grocery distribution warehouse in Carlstadt, New Jersey, for a family owned business. And it was terrible.
For
I
people who
was in
don't
this
know, what's a Teamster?
Teamsters is one of the largest, most powerful unions in the entire country, if not one of them in the world.
Hoffa,
They have
right?
yes, this is well, not no longer. This is Sean O'Brien. He's the current president, but he is the predecessor to the son or grandson, one of the two of Jimmy Hoffa. And funny, all Staten Island, by the way.
Mhm.
So yeah, the Teamsters is 1.5 million workers strong. They are powerful. They've been around for, I believe, over 100 years in this country. And I was a Teamster. I was working there. I made the union. Was there for 3 years. I paid my dues, and I also had to go through an arbitration with them. And I realized, as the youngest employee, I was the youngest employee at that warehouse, that even the contract with the Teamsters wasn't good.
Interesting.
We were being treated very uh really terrible. We had white management. All the workers, all my coworkers at the warehouse were black. We were all pretty much from low impoverished communities, and we didn't have a voice. And we complained. Nobody really complained. They just did what they were told, and I wasn't with that because we being treated like beyond disbelief to me. As a young employee, I looked at my contract. I said, we're getting paid $10 an hour with a little bonus every week. But in order to get the bonus, we got to do 2 hours of mandatory overtime, and we don't get any incentives or raises for the next 10 years. Who the hell signed this contract? I wouldn't
Mm.
have signed this, but this was signed before I even got the job. So I
Oh.
couldn't even, I couldn't even change it if I wanted to. I didn't know anything about the union or contracts or anything like that. I just knew that this was not it.
Now, see,
So
you
I
just
left
said
that
something there
job.
that a lot of people don't understand about unions. When you just said that
Hmm.
the contract was signed before you could sign it, can you just give folks like
Hmm.
a little bit more insight into what that means?
Yeah. So depending on what industry it is, for my example, my experience, the union was already in place. This local for the Teamsters was already in place for 75 years, or however many years, and they signed contracts to uh, pretty much give the workers something in writing that explains what type of benefits, wages that we have as workers. And in this contract was already signed years prior, but it didn't expire until I forgot the date. But I wasn't in on those conversations or even a part of the union at the time to even put in my
Two
opinions
cents.
or my proposals, anything. So really, whatever's signed, that's it. There is no, or we go back to the table and sit back and forth.
Right.
And a lot of people who join the unions, they don't even realize their own contract because they don't look at them. I just happened to ask my shop stewardess, can I look at the contract? But a lot of workers
Hmm.
were just, they were just silent because they were used to are accustomed to the type of culture that they had there.
Interesting. Because I know that a lot of people don't realize that the union is making a deal with whatever the company is
With the
on
employer.
behalf of the employees. And like, I know as a member of SAG, and we just had the strike, like a lot of people were not happy with the deal that SAG made on our behalf with the producers union, with the AMPTP.
Yeah.
And I think a
Yeah,
lot of folks
no.
were like, I don't understand. Like, doesn't that mean, can't you just negotiate the contracts? I mean, and that's basically the deal they made. The deal they made is essentially like, we didn't really make any headway. When you all have your individual contracts, you're going to have to negotiate all of these things individually, which I'm just like, well, what we paying these dues for?
What's the point? Right. And that's the thing that led me to, well, really led us to decide that we're going to be an independent union. Because I feel like there's a lot of politics now in these established unions. And that's a prime example. Like we're being misinformed. And I hate to say it, and I hate to be like the one to bear bad news, but we're not doing shit in this country when it comes to labor. And people, and even with our historical victory with the union, with Amazon Labor Union and Starbucks, because remember, we won the same day. Starbucks Union and Amazon Labor Union, we won literally the same day. So for us to be here 2 years now without a contract and to look back on the fact that these established unions that I just mentioned, Teamsters being one of them, SAG-AFTRA's been around, UAW's been around, they only contributed 3% of their resources to my union and Starbucks. What? You're telling me we just made generational history that's being taught to your children right now? I'm in your classroom. I'm on your school, your teacher's test right now. And these established unions ain't helping us?
Well, tell me more.
Don't
When you all say that you won, right? When you say that Starbucks won, when you say that Amazon won, what did you win?
We won recognition. We had an election, and we had an election for recognition of the workers. The workers voted, and they chose representation from the union. So that doesn't mean we get the contract automatically.
The contract is the agreement with the company, with the employer.
Exactly. This just means that our campaign just reset it back to zero.
Back to zero.
Because now what they did and what they're doing, they have us held up in court. We've been in court for the last 2 years. I've been spending $30,000 a month on Amazon legal fees for the last 2 years. But nobody, and I'm receiving that through donations, not because we're getting support. It's because the community, the people, the things that I'm doing, the people I'm meeting, the traveling, all the connections and relationships are the ones that are supporting us. But if I wasn't doing any of this, there would be no support for my Amazon Labor Union, which is a shame. The same thing that's going on with Starbucks. They're in the same situation. They can have, and they have support because they're actually not independent. You know, they're with Workers United, but they have support. And they still don't have a contract because it's not about really the support. It's about the fact that these labor laws in this country, the NLRB process, is not doing us a justice. It's not doing us what needs to be done. And really, when I go to these other countries like Canada, which is right over the border, I could catch an hour flight and land in a province with one of the most progressive laws in the entire North America. That doesn't make sense to me. When there's been labor leaders before me, remember, I'm a rookie. I'm a rookie to the game. There's labor leaders that you know, that we both know, that have been in the game 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Why the hell ain't no laws being passed on a federal level that will help us out? And it still blows my mind till this day, and I'm trying to figure it out. Like, how do we, get past that or move this conversation forward, because it hasn't happened a lot.
So y'all, we about to head over to the SEAL Squad. So if you want to come and find out these answers to these questions for Mr. Chris Smalls, then you know what to do. Head on over to my Patreon.